Hello there, it's midday. Welcome to the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. The bulletin is live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. We are also live on affiliates across the country globally on citynewsroom.com. My name is Larte. This afternoon, I'm here with
Safo.
In this edition, Ghana wins case at the Permanent Court of Arbitration in the suit filed by Chinese firm over the abrogation of the contract on the $100 million Accra Intelligent Traffic Management Project. Also coming up, former MP for Mampong Francis Adenimo promises to unite NPP and consolidate the gains of the Akufo-Addo government as he officially announces his candidacy to lead the party in the 2024 elections.
I have thereby decided, and I am hereby officially announcing my candidacy to be elected as the next flag bearer of the new patriotic party.
We have more from his campaign launch. Still ahead, one more body retrieved at Anhia-Futu in the Echima-Mponya district of the Ashanti region, bringing to 2 the number of teenagers who've died after being trapped in a Galamsey pit. Later, but still in the Ashanti region, fire incident kills mother and 2 daughters aged 6 and 9 at Ibuakwa in the Echima-Mponya district of the region.
What we can say is it looks as if because of the challenge with the thieves and armed robberies around this place, they fortified their building to ensure that they are not able to break into it. So when the incident happened, it was difficult for them to also come out.
Details as officials of the Ghana Fire Service begin investigations into the inferno. All that and more here on Citi Prime News if you do stay with us for the next 60 minutes. Citi Prime News is live on Premier 100.5 FM in Takoradi Beach, 105.5 FM also in Takoradi Greener, 95.9 FM in Sunyani Orange, 107.9 FM in Kumasi, Right 90.1 FM in Sumanya, Holy 98.5 FM in Aplao, Dasoma 99.1 FM in Yendi, Word 88.3 FM in Zwarungu, and Bugli Radio 88.6 FM in Wa. The bulletin is also streaming live on Facebook at 97.3 Citi FM and YouTube at CityTube.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
This afternoon, the Permanent Court of Arbitration has dismissed a $55 million damages suit brought against the government of Ghana by a Chinese firm, Beijing Everyway Traffic and Lighting Technology Company Limited. The suits followed the cancellation of the contract of the Accra Intelligent Traffic Management Project worth $100 million, which was awarded to the company in 2018. The company invoked the jurisdiction of the tribunal under a treaty between the government of the People's Republic of China and the government of the Republic of Ghana concerning the encouragement and reciprocal protection of investment. But Ghana's Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Adami raised an objection to the jurisdiction of the tribunal to decide on the case. His objection was upheld by members of the tribunal, explaining that they do not have the jurisdiction to decide the claimant's claims for expropriation under Article 10(1) of the treaty.
One more body has been retrieved in a mining pit at Anhia-Futu in the Echima-Mponya district of the Ashanti region. The body of 14-year-old Atakakra was found in the Galamsey pit following a search conducted by the police and other members of the community after the body of 15-year-old Kwabnanane was discovered in the pit on Monday night. The 2 teenagers, according to reports, fell into the river after some security men suspected to be forest guards chased them from the forest during their search for gold in an abandoned Galamsey pit. Echima-Mponya NADMO coordinator Joseph Opon tells Citi News the bodies of the 2 teenagers have been deposited at the morgue pending autopsy and police investigation.
They have found out the other boy. He is dead. All of them are dead. They are 2. Yesterday evening, those 2 boys went to an abandoned mining site to find gold. And during the authority guard came upon them. So they were trying to run away. And unfortunately for them, they got into the river and they couldn't come out again. That's what happened. Yeah, one Kwabena Anane is 15 years, and the other boy is Atakakra. He is also 14 years old.
Have they been buried?
No. After now, they are the mortuary at the district capital. Oh, we have left everything to Ghana police. We collaborate with them to search for the body, so we have left everything in their care.
Ashramampunya NADMO coordinator Joseph Oponde.
To another sad story still in the Ashanti region, because a family of 3 has been burnt to death in a domestic fire at Ibuakwa in the Ekrima Nwabija municipality of the region on Wednesday morning. The unfortunate incident involved a 28-year-old mother, Abigail Menu, and her 2 daughters, Nora Yeboah and Philippa Yeboah, who were 9 and 6 years respectively. According to eyewitnesses, 2 other family members in the house were able to escape, but the 3 were trapped inside and were burnt to death in the process. The intervention of officers prevented the fire from spreading to neighboring houses. The affected house has been destroyed. An eyewitness, Stephen Wundomo, who has been narrating the incident to Citi News, says they heard the victim screaming and calling for help, but were only able to rescue 2 out of the 5 persons who were trapped in the fire.
I was right in front of where the incident happened. I heard a woman shouting. So I quickly rushed there. When I got there, I saw that there is a fire in the house. So we heard some sound in one of the room that yeshu, we are burning. So we were trying to break and enter and rescue them. But
so we heard them screaming.
Yeah. So when we use sticks and hammers we tried to break the door, but we couldn't. Because of security, why they use some wood to block the back of the door, so we couldn't break through. So, but we were able to rescue the landlord's wife and the last born, which is about 12 years. We were able to rescue those ones, but the landlord's firstborn, which is 28 years, and the daughters, they are 2. So that means the landlord's grandchild. So the daughter and the grandchildren, so they were 2, 9 years and 6 years. So the daughter is a seamstress. She's 28 years. So we were not able to break and enter. So later on, we saw that the fire was too much. We called fire service about 45 to 1 hour time before they came. By that time, we were able to quench the fire by some tenant brought pumping machine that we used to pump water from a septic tank to quench all the fire. So when we got where they are, we saw a gas cylinder there. So either we don't know either it's through that gas cylinder or electrical problem or coil, we don't know. So we were trying to ask the landlord, either they said they were having a coil there, but mosquito coil there, but she's crying, she couldn't talk. So that why we don't know what brought the fire.
Stephen Wundomo is an eyewitness to a fire incident at Ibuakwa in the Ashanti region. Well, this comes few weeks after a police officer and his family perished in a similar fire incident at Apromasi in the Ashanti region.
Let's stay with that particular fire because the Ashanti Regional Fire Commander, ACFO1 Henry Jiwa, who visited the fire scene, noted that his outfit has commenced investigations into the incident to ascertain the actual cause. He, however, stated that preliminary investigations show that the building had been fortified against possible robbery attacks with limited exit routes. This, he said, led to the casualties.
We've started with investigation. Normally, we start investigation as soon as we arrive at the scene. So they've started actually, and we are on it. What we can say is it looks as if because of the challenge with the thieves and armed robberies around this place, they fortified their building to ensure that they are not able to break into it. So when the incident happened, it was difficult for them to also come out. And that's exactly what happened. And they all perished. As at now, I can't tell you exactly what caused the fire. We need to investigate. We've heard stories, but we also have to come out with exactly what we think caused the fire. The age, I think the old ladies are 36 or so, 37-year-old, then 6-year-old daughter, and 9 years, yeah. Seriously, this thing has been recurring for some time now, and it's a bother to all of us. When we realize most of these fires happens in the middle of the night, when we are asleep. So before you are awake, the smoke, the fire has already engulfed your place. And we know smoke. When you inhale smoke, you become weak, and if you don't take care, it puts you down.
He also highlighted some common behaviors the public should be mindful of in fire prevention.
Most of the time, we're trying to kill mosquitoes or drive them away, and we'll switch on our mosquito nets or coils, and we don't put them on a metal or whatever with water around it, so that when it dies, everything will die with it. Normally, we put it on combustible materials. So when they get there, then they also start fire gradually, and before you realize, it becomes a big fire. At times, too, we'll be cooking, or you'll be doing, let me go and have a nap. Before you realize, you are fast asleep. So that's why we are even encouraging people that before you even leave the kitchen, pick something that will remind you that, hey, I was at the kitchen. Then we can remind you to quickly go back. And electricity too. We leave our gadgets on and go and sleep, especially TV, watching television, and you fall asleep. So I think these are some of the things that causes these type of fires.
You heard Ashanti Regional Fire Commander, ACFO1 Henry Jiwa.
Allow us to stay a while longer on fire outbreaks, but this time around to the Savannah region, because the Ghana National Fire Service there is worried about the increasing rate of fire incidents. The Regional Fire Officer, Assistant Chief Fire Officer Emmanuel Oforije, in a Citi News interview, said despite intensive educational campaigns, the service recorded 112 fires last year compared to 68 recorded in 2021, representing an increase of 64.7%. He said the service will not relent in its efforts to reduce the fire outbreaks in the region.
As compared to the number of fires that we recorded in the region, was 112 fires. As compared to the previous year, 2021, we recorded 68 fires. So there were an increase of 44 fires. If you put them into percentage, it's about 64.7% increment. So last year we recorded a bit of high fires within the region.
Assistant Chief Fire Officer Emmanuel Oforije is the Savannah Regional Fire Officer.
Away from fires, convener of the Individual Bondholders Forum, Senyor Husi, has dispelled assertions that bondholders who do not sign up to the domestic debt exchange program will lose their bonds if they trade it before it matures. This comes on the back of the government's extension of the deadline of domestic debt exchange program to the 7th of February. Government, in its new term, says all individual bondholders who are below the age of 59 years will be offered instruments with a maximum maturity of 5 years instead of 15 years and a 10% coupon rate, while retirees, including those retiring in 2023, will be offered instruments with a maximum maturity of 5 years instead of 15 years and a 15% coupon rate. But speaking to Citi News, Senyor Husi says individual bondholders will be best served if they keep their old bonds.
When these things start, you have the same issuer. So the problem you really have is that the new bonds are the ones who lose the most value because they'll be giving you the least return. And anybody bringing new money into the market would want an optimal return. The problem you have having the new bond and the old bond work together is that when the new bond is carrying 10%, or 5%, and the old bond is carrying 20%, and you still have the same issuer, being government of Ghana. And government is going to honor obligations under both. People will use that 20% as a benchmark. And when you use 20% as a benchmark, then the 10% and 5%, the value will crash. What is going to happen is that your old bonds will now become the Miss Ghana in town. Everybody wants to marry this one. Nobody wants to have it as side chick because you really want to keep this one. Because it is going to be the diamond amongst the pearl, amongst the stones.
That was the convener of the Individual Bondholders Forum, Senyor Husi.
And despite reaching an understanding with the Minister of Finance on the new terms of the domestic debt exchange program, the Ghana Securities Industry Association has stated that it is going to seek further clarification on some aspects of the program. The association believes the revised terms will bring about some administrative lapses to some fund managers and collective investment schemes. In an interview with Citi News, President of the association, Winston Nelson Jr., said it is expecting the ministry to throw more light on its revised and final exchange memorandum, which will be released on February 2, 2023.
When the release came out, these questions came to our association from our members, and we have reached out to the ministry to clarify. I agree with you that administratively it will be a challenge to try and be applying both, because the bonds are held in the name of the fund. So it is a fair point, but we have reached out to the Ministry of Finance to clarify that between these two options they have given, where exactly was their intention of where collective investment schemes fall. You should note that the pensions, even though they are the retirees, even though they are individual bond holders, for one reason or the other, I think they just try to treat them separately, like take them out of the individual bond holders and treat them in a much different way. So I think by the time on Thursday, when the memorandum comes out, this question should be answered clearly. You have to recognize that the individual, for a collective investment, there's a fund manager who really just generally makes the decisions for the fund. And the fund manager has a board who also seconds or authorizes decisions to be made for the fund. Look, trying to segregate and take this one out and put this one back is just going to be an administrative nightmare.
Winston Nelson Jr. is the president of the Ghana Securities Industries Association.
The Member of Parliament for Boko Central, Mahama Ayariga, has questioned the legality of using the Ghana Amalgamated Trust PLC as a source of support for the banks in the ongoing domestic debt exchange program. This comes on the back of government's directive to banks that will be affected by the ongoing domestic debt exchange program to approach the Ghana Amalgamated Trust PLC for support from the 15 Ghana Cedis Ghana Financial Stability Fund. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, Mahama Ayariga urged the appropriate authorities to relook at the directive as it is illegal.
You say 15 billion or 50 billion, whatever, even if it's just 1 billion, from where? From which public source? We need to know that. And you can't just commit 15 billion or even 1 billion without coming to us in Parliament so that we know that this is where you are taking the money from. And then we authorize you to go ahead and take that money. And without coming to Parliament, without any indication, you've already shepherded them. Go to God. Go and sit and let God tell you how this is going to be structured. One, I say God itself is an illegal entity. I mean, it's not the kind of body that should be doing this. And secondly, you are not certain as to where the money is going to come from. And if the history is anything to go by, God gets its money from private sources. So once again, if the GATT model is what you're going to use, you are definitely in the end going to tell the banks that GATT is going to lend from somewhere in the financial market, come and invest in you, and later on sell the shares to those that will buy so that they can raise money to go and pay. And I'm saying that that is a strategy you are using to take over these banks.
That was the Member of Parliament for Boko Central, Mahama Ayariga.
Moving on, the Ghana Shippers Authority says an amount of 1.2 million Ghana cedis of its locked-up investment with defunct Gold Coast Fund Management Limited is yet to be retrieved. The Auditor General, in its 2020 report, revealed that there is uncertainty in the authority's ability to recover a substantive amount of 1,253,000 Ghana cedis of its revenue invested with the financial institution. However, officials of the Ghana Shippers Authority say 50,000 Ghana cedis of the money has been paid by the receiver, with the 1.2 million Ghana cedis outstanding. Here are excerpts of the proceedings.
Honorable Chair, when the auditors were on site, because that figure had not been confirmed by the Securities and Exchange Commission, they used the figure which was in our books then. Subsequently, when the confirmation was made, 1,253,362 cedis was confirmed. 50,000 50,000 of that has been paid. 2 accounts were opened by the amalgamated fund at Ghana Commercial Bank. So they categorized that into Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 2 was actually cash, which was paid into. Tier 1 was cash, which was paid into the account. Tier 2 is supposed to be an investment, but our checks from GCB Capital is saying that no payment has been made on that yet. And even this morning, we checked with them. But the Tier 1, which is the 50,000, has actually been paid into an account which was opened for the authority at GCB. Confirm the figure which was actually agreed to after they have gone through the process by the receiver. I will check 1 minute. You just mentioned the figure. I just want you to repeat it. Yes, I want to give the exact figure. Honorable Chair, it was 1,253,232 cedis, 87 pesos. And 50,000 was paid into Tier 1 account, leaving a balance of 1,203,232 cedis, 87 pesos in the Tier 2 account.
You heard officials of the Ghana Shippers Authority at the Public Accounts Committee sittings. The chairman of the committee, James Kluche Aveji, bemoaned that the Ghana Cocoa Board also has an amount of 7.3 million Ghana cedis lost to the financial sector cleanup, which is negatively impacting on their operations.
I'm sure that will not be your fault, and we're not going to blame you. And I think that the banking sector cleanup has negatively impacted most of the institutions. Yesterday, Cocoa Board had invested 7.5 million into Gold Coast securities. It was only 200,000 which was paid by the receiver to them. The balance of 7.3 is something that we're not sure whether they can get the money back.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
Mr. Chair, maybe I don't know about Cocoa Board, but in our case,
no, Cocoa Board came yesterday, and that was the information.
That's what I'm saying. In our case, no indication has been given by the people handling the contact with us because of it. I think that we need to find out the reason why the money has not been paid. Then we can revert. But they haven't adduced any reason to it why the money.
No, I can tell you the reason. The reason is that the receiver, which is the PricewaterhouseCoopers, can only pay this investment as and when funds become available from funds they realize from the auction of the properties of the company. That is it.
That's chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, James Kluche Aveji. Meanwhile, some disgruntled customers of the defunct Gold Coast Fund Management Limited, who appeared at the commercial division of the Accra High Court for proceedings on the case, complained about the severe hardship the situation has subjected them to.
There is no hope at all. There is no hope because how the court case is going, it can take years. It can take years. There is no hope at all. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because that is our hard-earned money that we did the investment with. And because of this situation, actually, most of our children are in the house. My son's supposed to go to school this year, university, but there's no money. Not that I'm a lazy person or my husband is a lazy person, no. But because the money is locked up to now. At the moment, we just want to plead to the government. Because I can remember in the budget that the 2021 budget, they allocated some money to pay the customers, and the parliament have improved that. That is 5.5. Up to now, we haven't heard anything. So I'm taking this opportunity to plead to the government to have mercy upon especially the pensioners, the elderly ones, because they need money to buy their drugs, and there is no money to buy. Not that they are lazy people, but because the money is locked up, they can't even take care of themselves, nor their children. So this time I'm pleading to the president itself that it should have mercy upon us.
We believe that the government is just hiding behind the liquidation order because according to the Securities and Exchange Commission, a press release that they made on on the 2nd of September 2020, the year 2020, they said that both Securities and Exchange Commission and Register General Department has advised the government not to use the liquidation route to pay customers because they felt that liquidation route can take decades. Okay. Therefore, they have agreed with the government to use a bailout package to pay us.
Those were some disgruntled customers of the defunct Gold Coast Fund Management Limited. This is still the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. Still to come, we get to hear from former MP for Mampong Francis Adenimo promising to unite NPP and consolidate the party as he officially announces his candidacy to lead the party in the 2024 elections.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. This is still the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Larte here with Safo. Let's bring you some more stories now. And a former member of parliament for the Mampong constituency, Francis Adenimo, has formally announced his decision to contest the NPP flag bearership race when nominations are opened. He contested in the NPP's presidential primaries in 2014 and lost. Addressing the media today, the former MP has promised to bring unity and consolidate the performance of the current NPP-led government.
I am humbled that my esteemed team has assessed my qualifications and motivations using these three criteria, and driven by my personal conviction and confident that my values and my professional background can be useful in shaping the necessary initiatives that will significantly improve our country, and coupled with the clarion call I have been receiving over these last years from our party members, rank and file, and from the wide consultations and sound advice from the elders of the party, I, Adenimo, I have thereby decided, and I am hereby officially announcing my candidacy to be elected as the next flag bearer of the new patriotic party in the intended election.
Mr. Adenimo further revealed that areas in health, education, agriculture, employment, infrastructure form part of his development plan to transform the country when given the mandate to lead the party.
We have very good climatic conditions that we should be able to produce our food to feed ourselves. And I would say that at no point in time should every Ghanaian go to school, go to work, go to bed hungry. We should be able to feed ourselves. So agriculture and food security is key. Point number two, or policy number two, if you are eating, then you need some level of education or health. So these two social services are also crucial, education and health. And so we will also focus on education. And in terms of education, we look at technical, vocational, and skills training programs that will also be a priority under my watch if I'm given the mandate to lead our beloved country.
Francis Adenimo is a flag bearer aspirant for the new Patriotic Party.
The National Tenants Union of Ghana wants government to commission a national rental task force to collaborate with the Rent Control Department to deal with tenancy issues. Pressing among the issues is the payment of 2 years' rent advance when Ghana's rent control law clearly states that not more than 6 months of payments should be made. Secretary General of the National Tenants Union of Ghana, Frederick Opoku, who spoke to Citi News, says the law must be enforced.
According to Section 25, Section 5, you aren't supposed to even rent more than 6 months. And the government, come and gone, has failed in their responsibility to enforce these things. That's why the tenant union have today called for a national rental task force group
to enforce the law. It's not about the law not being there. It's about the enforcement. So if we have a task force in all the district assemblies, you can go there. They are working with the rent control. You can go there and have a lot of access and maybe make a complaint. You can be summoned.
Frederick Opoku is the Secretary General of the National Tenants Union of Ghana. The Public Relations Officer of the Rent Control Department, Emmanuel Hove-Posu, speaking on Current Affairs program on Citi TV Face to Face, blamed the situation on some prospective tenants who willingly pay the 2 years rent advance to the disadvantage of other tenants.
The issue is that we've let loose this law for a very long time. So it has now become a norm. Whilst you are negotiating with the landlord, your fellow tenant is standing behind you, giving signal to the landlord that I can give you 3 years. Why not? He will find an excuse and push you out because somebody is willing.
So the law is useless?
It's not useless aside. We are considering the economic situation. Investing in building or rental housing now is a capital intensive. Okay, so whilst thinking about that, they need to recoup their money, not at a long term. Though building is a long-term investment, but it shouldn't be so long. So if we are insisting on monthly rent advance payment or maximum 6 months rent advance payment, how long would it take them to reinvest into it? So we are trying to encourage investors into the real estate, whilst we also encourage tenants.
He, however, stated that the Rent Control Department has begun a sensitization to get landlords charge rent on a monthly basis.
Since 2-3 years ago, our sensitization program is catching up with a lot of landlords and tenants. And most of them have started charging monthly, 6 months, and most in cases it's 1 year for now. It's interesting that it's catching up with them. But again, the number is very negligible. It's very negligible. We get cases in our offices where the landlord, during the hearing, you hear that, I started charging you monthly 2 years ago. You've not paid more than 6 months since you came in. So these things are there. We need to get the statistics so that we can encourage a lot of people.
It seems that it's difficult to practice the 1 month thing too.
Yes, it's very difficult. Based on the economic situation, as I mentioned to you, a lot of landlords also are putting their burdens on the structures they've built. Okay, you cannot afford.
You heard the Public Relations Officer of the Rent Control Department, Emmanuel Hove-Posu.
Let's now turn our attention to health because the United Nations has handed over an emergency medical center to the Ghana Armed Forces. The facility, which was one of the COVID-19 isolation centers in Burma camp, will now be a full health center to be operated by the armed forces. Here is Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare, giving details of the service delivery of the facility.
The United Nations Field Hospital is coming to the government of Ghana and the people of Ghana at a time when there is the need for such purposeful built, well-equipped and functioning emergency response and critical care facility. As we were informed by the country representative of the WHO, this facility consists of various units, including fully equipped intensive and critical care units, fully equipped laboratory, laundry, oxygen plant. Mr. President, in fact, this is the largest oxygen plant in the country. 2 ambulances, emergency power systems, and other equipment needed to deliver quality-driven health care. This facility, therefore, comes to support the several interventions of the country's health system, aimed at improving access, as detailed in our roadmap for achieving universal health coverage, and projects Ghana as a medical tourist center in the sub-region. We are delighted, therefore, to learn that several Ghanaian health staff have already been trained here during the operations and are bringing their skills to bear in specialized healthcare delivery areas countrywide. Apart from providing direct services, Mr. President, this facility is strategically located in the sub-region and purposefully built to be used as a training capacity center for all health professionals in the country, not only in Ghana, but also in the sub-region, especially during times of pandemic.
Dr. Anthony Nsiasare is the Presidential Advisor on Health. President Akufo-Addo, who witnessed the handing over ceremony, thanked the UN and assured the facility will be put to good use.
Government deemed it necessary to make arrangements with the United Nations for the acquisition of this facility, ultimately leading to the decision to hand it over to the Ghana Armed Forces today. This facility has played such an outstanding part in the nation's management of the COVID-19 pandemic, and I express on behalf of the government and people of Ghana our sincere appreciation to the United Nations and to the WHO for their confidence in our country that enabled them to situate this facility in Ghana. I'm thus expectant the armed forces put the facility to beneficial use, not only for our fellow countrymen, but also for patients from outside the country. Like the ordinary Ghanaian, I have confidence in the armed forces to manage effectively this facility, which is purposely equipped to handle emergencies. Your ability over the years to handle disasters and emergencies is commendable, and I know that with the coming on board of this facility, that aspect of your services will be enhanced even further. I know that the running of this facility would require some assistance, and I assure you that such would be offered by relevant public stakeholders and institutions. With the requisite support from all and sundry, I believe that the Armed Forces Medical Services would put the facility to an outstanding use that would bring credit to the medical services, the Ghana Armed Forces, and the country.
President Akufo-Addo.
Refugees living in the Boko West district of the Upper East region are appealing to the government and humanitarian organizations to assist them with basic necessities of life until they are able to return to their country. The over 3,000 refugees from neighboring Burkina Faso have been forced out of the country by activities of violent extremists and are thus seeking support to cater for their families. Citi News' Upper East regional correspondent Frederick Awuni has more in this report.
Activities of violent extremists in neighboring Burkina Faso in recent times have led to the death of Burkinabe residents and displaced over 3,000, including women and children. These refugees have sought asylum in Sapeliga in the Boko West district of the Upper East region. Housed in an uncompleted structure, these refugees are exposed to health hazards, poor shelter, and depend solely on donated foodstuff from local residents or non-governmental organizations. But the support they get is woefully inadequate to meet their daily needs. Some of the refugees share with Citi News how they came into Ghana.
We were in Burkina Faso when one of our husbands came from Ghana to take his mother to Binaba, but on their way, he was shot dead by violent extremists. Later, we realized these violent extremists had come to our houses in Burkina Faso and started killing our husbands, so we had to run with our children to Ghana. We are currently in Sapeliga. Life is unbearable for us here, and we are appealing to be freed and join some of our relatives in Ghana. We were in Burkina Faso when these violent extremists came over and started shooting and killing our husbands. So we had to run with our children to seek refuge. We need support to free our children until a time where our homes in Burkina is safe for us to return.
The presiding member of the Boko West District Assembly, Awini Asana Zakari, fears the situation threatens the security of the area and called for tight security surveillance.
So I think that upon government intervention, all that we are doing, I think government is aware, and then I also equally want to know that if government comes in, like the security situation, the community is, in fact, we are being threatened. We are being threatened. So despite the number of security personnel on ground, we are still not satisfied. Some of the unapproved rules are still scary.
And so I think that when the security deployment is being put in place, it will help us. Better say these are people who have get displaced. Even though they are not well, I think that we cannot discard them as refugees. They are well displaced. They cannot return there. That's what I use the word well displaced. They cannot return there. I don't know as and when they can even return. We can't tell. And so we expect a support from government for feeding, a support from government for other community utilities like water and sanitation activities. You have to carry out because it means where we are now is now more or less a disease-prone area. So we expect that support from government.
The divisional chief of Sapeliga, Naba, Abudbudi, Atule, Ayagiba III, bemoaned the insufficient foodstuff to cater for the refugees.
In fact, the situation is very bad because some of their parents have been killed. And they were just running. They cannot even stay in Burkina. So as we come here, it's also very difficult for us because we're taking care of them. And there's assistance from NGOs, government, Jesus family, and about all that they can do. It's not sufficient. Even water. So I think they should do well to assist my people. And this year, for instance, we didn't have enough rain. So the food situation is just a problem here. You get to the market, you can't even buy corn. You have to learn to give it to strangers. And the children are so many, and the women. Children are so many, very tiny ones. That's a difficult thing.
Okay. On a fact-finding mission to assess the refugee situation at Sapeliga, Upper East Regional Director for the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, Mawuli Agbenu, wants government and humanitarian organizations to assist the refugees with their basic needs and integrate with their relatives in Ghana.
The situation is dire. You can see that they are living in very, very deplorable situation over here. We are told that most of them have also moved deeper into Ghana. They have relations in Ghana that they have moved away from here to visit them. We have spoken to some of them over here. They also claim that they have people that are in the country and they would like to move away from here to that place. All they need is a support for them to be able to move away from here. In fact, that it has stretched the welfare system in the Sapeliga village. We were with the chief a few minutes ago. Some of them are doing their widow's mite to help them to cook. If you look at what they are eating, you can see the food. Very, very bad. And they are living in very, very deplorable situations. Some of them are sick. They are sleeping in the room. They need medical attention and all that. So we just call on the support services and all the organizations that can bring help here. We are told that NADMO has been here once, but we think that they can come and do better than that. We are also pleading with CSOs and NGOs who can come around and help these people. But according to them, the help that they need is to travel from here to their people, and I think that will be the best thing for them. But I must seize this opportunity to thank the people of Sapeliga.
The spillover of violent extremism from neighboring Burkina Faso is negatively affecting their residents here who have sought asylum in the Sapeliga area of the Boku West district. They are, however, overwhelmed with foodstuff and access to quality healthcare services. They are appealing to government and other organizations to come to their aid and facilitate their movement back to their hometown, Burkina Faso. Reporting for Citi News, Frederick Aouni, Sapeliga, Boku West District.
Back here in Accra, I am Larte here with Enu Safo. You are still listening to us here on the Citi Prime News, live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra, also live across the country and all around the world on citinewsroom.com. Still to come, managers of 2 branches of Melcom Shop arrested by Jari Tax Force for failing to issue VAT invoices on some items sold to customers.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
More. It's something we're promised a lot these days. But what does more actually look like? Well, in Emirates Economy, it's endless entertainment on the biggest screens in the sky plus live sport. That's more. Gourmet cuisine that gives you a taste of your destination, served with free-flowing drinks. That's more. Special meals and toys for kids to keep your little explorers happy. That's more. So whichever way you look at it, more really does mean more in Emirates economy. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Get ready for 7 exciting days of adventure through 13 incredible regions of Ghana with the promise of a rich cultural experience, introspective historical visitations, and exhilarating film days with nature. Prepare for 7 amazing days of a road trip filled with the sights, sounds, and the aura of a diversified people. Get ready because we are going on the expedition of a lifetime to discover Ghana from the 4th to the 11th of March on the Heritage Caravan 2023. Pack your bags and let's set off on this spectacular tour from Greater Accra through to the Volta region, through to Eastern region, Ashanti region, Upper East region, Savannah region, Northern region, through to Northeast, Bono region, Ahafo region, Bono East region, Western North, Western region, and the Central region of Ghana. A journey full of fun, education, information, wonderful memories, and great bonding moments await you on the Heritage Caravan 2023. The Heritage Caravan 2023 is powered by Citi TV in partnership with the Ghana Tourism Authority with support from Citi FM and proudly sponsored by Hollad Ghana, the European Union, Malta Guinness, Ebony Condoms, Goyle Company Limited, National Lotteries Authority, and Baltic Mineral Water.
This love, not for you and me. Be my Juliet and I'll be your Romeo.
This Valentine's season, we are expressing our love and dedication to those who mean the most to us in ways that are unmistakable. Join us on the 14th of February at Pediasi Valley Resort for phenomenal meals and exhilarating music enjoyed under the starry night skies. This is sure to turn a spark into a roaring flame. Don't miss out on our Treasure and Moonlight packages that run from the 13th to the 16th of February to absolutely melt your partner's heart and show just how much you care. Love brewed in the valley just got sweeter. For inquiries, please call 0540-125-555 or 0540-125-554. Pediasi Valley Resort. Live life.
You are my love.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Grateful that you stayed. In more news this hour, the manager of the retail shop, Malcolm, at Kaswa in the Central Region and Achimota here in Accra have been arrested by the Revenue Protection Task Force of the Ghana Revenue Authority over their failure to issue VAT invoices on some items sold to customers. Fred Duho is our man with the GRA team. Let's get more from him because it's day 3 of the operation. Well, Fred, if you can hear me, tell us the very latest because this arrest brings to 9 the total number of shop managers arrested.
Well, if the current one being done right now at the main Malcolm shop here at Kaneshi industrial area, that would probably bring the numbers to 10, including that of yesterday. So, in effect, the GRA is embarking on an exercise to map some of these shop owners or managers who have found means to bypass their system. To give you a background to this whole exercise, last year the GRA actually rolled out an electronic VAT invoicing system where they, in actual fact, wanted a number of shops, retail shops for that matter, the bigger ones in the country actually, to hook onto their system so that any customer, assuming he goes into a Malcolm shop to purchase a toothbrush, that payment you make at Malcolm, the VAT part of it should reflect directly in the system at the GRA. But after they were rolled onto this particular platform, the electronic platform, entering into 2023 now, a number of these shops are finding possible means to bypass the system. And by bypassing the system, they allow me to purchase items and then they register using lease code or serial number or VAT number to register multiple buyers or customers under the same person. So in effect, if 20 people enter Melcom shop or China Mall or even Palace Mall to purchase items, they have done it such that only one out of the 20 would be recorded, meaning the GRA is missed out on 19 customers that actually entered the shop to make purchases. So in effect, the GRA is losing. And this the GRA has discovered after making some mystery shoppings across this number of shops. And they found out that indeed the managers of these shops are bypassing the system. And they are going very hard on them. When they come to your shop, they explain to you why they are there. And then they arrest you, take you to their van, and then you'll be probably detained in their office until someone comes to, or your lawyers come to bail you.
Well, obviously, this is a major source of concern to the GRA, for which reason they are effecting these arrests. But the people or the shop owners who were arrested today, have their statements been taken yet? What's the process like? Have they been taken to the police station?
We first visited the Melcom branch at Kaswa in the central region. Then we went to the Achimota branch. We are currently at the Kaneshie branch, as I mentioned earlier. And all these three managers or branch managers of Melcom, I can see as we speak the Indian man or the main manager here at the industrial area coming out with the GRA officials. So he's going into the van to join his other branch managers in the van. So when they are taken, they will be taken straight to the customs division of GRA, where they will be detained, and subsequently they would be arraigned for their offences. But first they would take their statements, and then the processes start from there. So today, in actual fact, three managers of Melcom branches have been arrested by the GRA. Yesterday, they did Palace Mall on the Community 5 stretch. They did that of the second cap at Joe, and then another shop to that effect. So in all, this brings to 10 managers of retail shops that have been arrested by the GRA.
But have officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority told you about the state of the managers who were arrested earlier this week?
In actual fact, they would be giving us a briefing when we get to or when we wrap up for the day's activity. That is when we will probably put the question to them as to what happens to those they are arrested. So in effect, it means that if you have someone or your lawyers come to bail you, it will not be the But if you have no one to intervene, they will probably process you for court in the coming days.
So from Kaneshie, where is going to be your next stop?
They won't disclose that to us. You would only go on board the bus, then they take you to the next destination. Because they fear that when they didn't, by the time the officials from GRA get there, so they won't really give you any information until they get to your premises.
All right, that's Fred Duho, Citi News' reporter with the GRA Task Force arresting some businesses who are failing to issue VAT invoices on some items they are selling.
The payment of property rates has been digitalized, making it easier for Ghanaians to make payments. The government has been blamed for failing to mobilize the much-needed revenue through property rates, but effective January this year, all property owners are expected to make payments for their properties through government's cashless system through a collaborative effort between the GRA and MMDAs. Ernest Adare is head of communications for the myassembly.gov.gh platform, and he has been speaking to host of the City Breakfast Show, Bernard Avle.
Myassembly.gov.gh is the platform. It's a platform where from 2023 January, everybody has to pay property rate through that platform. So as we speak now, anybody listening to us can just log on to their PCs and then just Google www.myassembly.gov.gh and then it will give you a platform. You open, it takes you to a landing page. From there, you see register a property and you register your property. It's as simple as that, as simple as ABC. That's all we are doing. Immediately you finish registering your property, it will give you the opportunity to add whatever property that you have. It's simple. Everything is electronic from now on. So 2023 property rates, nobody's paying cash, nobody's paying anything apart from going electronic. So you will pay using your your bank card, you can issue a check, but all checks are also supposed to be issued in the name
What
of
if I want to pay physically?
myassembly.gov. If you want to pay physically, it is not allowed. That's why somebody...
So I can't go to the district assembly.
You can't go to the district assembly
with my bill and say I want to pay my property
cash to nobody.
They won't accept it.
They won't.
The system is cashless.
So this cash I pay, does it come to GRA or it comes to the company manager?
Direct to the assembly.
Ernest Adade is head of communications for myassembly.gov.gh.
Away from that, and the concerned Second-Hand Dealers Association says it may resort to legal redress or demonstration if the Energy Commission fails to suspend the ban on the importation of second-hand appliances. The Commission has released a statement indicating the implementation of the regulation, which will be strictly enforced. This was vehemently resisted by stakeholders in the import sector, who say many people may lose their jobs in the process. Speaking to Citi News, the president of the association, Daniel Asare, says it is waiting to engage the Energy Commission further.
We are still consulting a lot of people for us to see how are we going to go about it. But if all these efforts are not fruitful, the next line of action is...
We do apologize for that poor quality of sound.
In other stories, the Okaikwe North Municipal Assembly has expressed support to the operations of Citi TV. The TV station has moved its studios from Adabraka to Owula Hanson Lane in Tesano, which falls under the municipality. As part of fostering collaborations with institutions within its new location, management of Citi TV paid a courtesy call on the municipal chief executive of the assembly. At the meeting, the MCE, Boy Larte, noted that the assembly is blessed to have Citi TV within its jurisdiction.
We are happy you are joining us, within the vicinity. We were looking forward for something like this for quite some time now. This is the time that we are getting our own. Do everything in our power to at least help you do your work the way you want to do it. We will give you all the protection, everything. You should also not be hesitated to at least call on us in case you need any supports that you think will be within our power. So what I would say is that you are again welcome. Thank you.
That was the Municipal Chief Executive for Okaikwe North Municipal Assembly, Boy Larte. Meanwhile, General Manager for Citi TV, Bernard Avle, has urged the municipality to be inspired by the movement and become a model local assembly worth emulating. He noted that the media house will not relent on its role of playing a watchdog role over the assembly.
I'm just encouraging you to keep doing the right thing. And of course, if there's a need to do a feature on local development, it would be nice to use Okaikwe North as the base. It's an opportunity to also showcase some of the good things you've done. If you've piloted anything that is useful, because a lot of our discussions, particularly on Breakfast Daily, on TV, we use local issues to tell national stories. So you'll find us in a community talking about a school, roads, sanitation here. So I really want to just encourage you to make Okaikwe North a centerpiece of excellence, so that the presenters will be, Firma will say, oh, for example, in the assembly that we are here, they collect this revenue, 90% IGF, they do this, that kind of thing. It's very good. And of course, if you feel the need to come on air as well, why not? It's good, as you said, you now have a TV station, and we are a credible mouthpiece for development. For us, we are very clear. We are not here to just make people happy. We are here because the country must develop.
That was General Manager of Citi TV, Bernard Avle.
And that's it for today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Ni Larte. I was here with
Eno Safo.
Many thanks indeed for your company. Do visit our website, citynewsroom.com, because we have more stories there for you. Have a good afternoon.
City 97.3. More variety.